All right, guys. So we're doing special angle pairs measures, but this time with algebra. Okay? This time with algebra. Now, we all know that when you have special angles, all right, they're either going to be congruent or supplementary. All right? So these are going to have algebraic expressions, which just means there's going to be an x in them. Now, if you remember, guys, congruent means equal in algebra speak, and supplementary means adds up to 180. All right. So congruent is just geometry terminology. It means the same as equal, essentially. All right. Now, guys, you're going to have two types. Like I said, you're going to have two types of problems with these. They are either going to be congruent or they're going to be supplementary, which means you are either going to set them equal to each other or you add them together and set them equal to add up to 180. So let's look at both of these examples. So, guys, these are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent, which means you're going to set these equal to each other. So I'm just going to write down 3x minus 3 equals 2x plus 20.
Do we write in that straight line?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Now, hopefully you know you have to go through, get rid of subtraction to make that 3x plus negative 3. Now, guys, I went ahead and drew a line to separate the equation, to keep the equations separate from each other. Now, in order to solve an equation, if you remember, you got to get all the x's on one side and all your constant, your random numbers, on the other side. So it doesn't matter which one you move, but I'm going to move the lighter x. I'm going to move the 2x, okay, because I always think it's a smaller number. It's easier to move across the wall. All right. So to get rid of 2x, you always do that opposite thing. So the opposite of a positive 2x is a negative 2x. So minus 2x. Now, I've done something to unbalance my equation. To balance it out, I need to do the same thing to the other side. Minus 2x. Now, guys, that I took it away. All right. Now I can ask myself, what's 3x minus 2x? 1x. Good job. And then I just drop down the stuff I didn't mess with. I didn't mess with that plus negative 3. Equal sign. And then I didn't mess with that 20. Now, I've got all my x's on one side, or my only x on one side. I need to get rid of that negative 3, though. So the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So plus 3 plus 3. All right. That allows me to cancel it out on that side that's with the x. So now I get 1x equals 23. Well, guys, how many x's did I want? 1. So I have my answer. All right, x equals 23. Now, here's the good thing about this, guys. I could use this to actually solve for the angle measure. I could substitute it back in. I could plug it back in. Now, because they're equal, guys, it would not matter which one I put it into. You could put it in 3x minus 3, but I don't like to subtract. So I'm going to put it in 2x plus 20. So if I wanted to figure out what each of these angles were worth, because they're worth the same thing, if I said, let me change color so you can see I'm doing with a different thing. If I said, I'm going to use that one, 2 times 23 plus 20, and I put that in a calculator, all right, that would end up being 66 degrees. So that's telling you that each of those angles are worth 66 degrees. Now, guys, once again, because they're equal to each other, if I know that that angle is worth 66 degrees, the other angle is worth 66 degrees. All right, so if they're congruent, all you're going to do is set them equal to each other. Now, these are actually just random. Like they're not a special angle pair. I don't know why they gave you this example because it's not a special angle pair. But if you look, do you see how one angle is acute and one angle is obtuse? That means they cannot be the same. And I told you your options are either they are equal or they add to 180. Well, if one angle is small, acute, and one angle is big, obtuse, that means they can't be the same. So they have to add to 180. Okay? The rest of them, though, you'll be able to be like, oh, these are same side interior, so they are supplementary. I don't know why the one example. Yeah. So, guys, the way we solve supplementaries, and it does not matter which one you write first, okay? The way we solve supplementaries is we add them together. So I'm going to write down x minus 97. So that's this top angle. Plus, now I'm going to write down the second angle, x plus 15. And I'm going to set that equal to 180. Now, notice I still have a line between my two sides of my equation. All right, so I have x minus 97. That's this one right here. If you need to see where I got this from. All right. That one came from here, and the other one came from down there. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through and get rid of any subtraction. All right. I'm going to go through and get rid of any subtraction. So I see a minus 97. I'm going to make it plus negative 97. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, guys, if you notice, I've got like multiple x's and multiple constants on that left side. I need to combine my like terms. So here's an x and here's an x that I can combine because they have the same last name. And then here's a negative 97, which is just a good old constant regular number, and a positive 15 that I can combine. All right. Now, x plus x is what? How many x's do I have now? 2. Good job. So when I combine my x's, I'm going to get 2x because there was an invisible 1 in front of each of them. Now, when I combine my constant, my regular constants, my regular numbers, if I say negative 97 plus 15, I get negative 82. And then I just drop down that equal sign and that 180 because I didn't mess with it. Now, guys, I want my 2x. It wants to be by itself. So how do I get rid of negative 82? Positive 82. Good job. So positive 82 on this side, which means I got to do positive 82 on the other side because we got to keep it even. Whee. All right. That goes away. And that's going to leave me with 2x on this side equals 180 plus 82 is going to be 262. Now, I know it's hard for some of you guys to see, so at the very bottom of the screen. So I'm just going to recopy what we have up here. So we have 2x equals 262. Okay? Now, my last step, I've got 2x. I want to know what 1x equals. So I'm going to divide. If it's beside it, you got to divide it. I'm going to divide both sides by the 2 because that's the number in front of the x. That's the coefficient. So divide by 2, divide by 2. All right. That is going to go away. And I'm going to get x equals 131. Now, once again, guys, I could plug in that x and solve for both angles if I wanted to. So, for instance, I could say 131 plus 15 and get that this angle is worth 146 degrees. Okay, I could plug in 131 minus 97 and get that this angle is worth 34 degrees if I wanted to. And guess what 146 plus 34 equals? 180. That's a good sign you're right if your two numbers actually add up to 180 like they're supposed to. If they don't, something went wrong. Now, we're not going to focus on plugging it back in for the numbers, for the actual angle measure, but I wanted it to be in your notes to show you how you would do it, and I wanted it to be on this video in case somebody needed to watch it to show you how you would do it. But for today, all we're going to do is focus on finding x. So remember, to find x, you either set them equal to each other, all right, if they're one of the special pairs that are congruent, or you add them together and set them equal to 180 if they're one of the same sides, like corresponding interior, corresponding exterior, which is the same as same side interior, same side exterior. So, all right, we are going to do 2 more problems, and I am going to have you we're going to try to solve for the angles again, but after that, we're not going to solve for the angles. All right. So let's look at these problems right here. All right. So first thing you have to do, guys, is you have to figure out, are these going to be congruent or are they going to add to 180, be supplementary? So what helps with that, guys, is to look and see what kind of angles they are. So if you look right here, here's an angle I'm talking about, and here's an angle I'm talking about. They're on, guys, the parallel lines are up and down. They are outside the train tracks. They're outside the parallel lines. So I know they're going to be an exterior angle. Now, they're going to be exterior angles. Now, I need to figure out, are they same side or are they alternate sides of the road? Alternate. All right. And guys, that's why we were doing the warm-up this morning. Alternate exterior are congruent. So I know to solve this, I need to set these two things equal to each other. All right? So I'm going to say x equals 3x minus 120. All right? And then I'm going to go ahead, and you know you don't have to do this part, but I know it helps a lot of people. I'm going to go ahead and draw that line to know that you don't cross that line unless you've done something. Okay? Now, I need to get all my x's together. So, before I do that, though, I need to get rid of subtraction. So, make this plus negative 120. All right. Now, I need to get rid of that 3x. So, the opposite of positive 3x is negative 3x. So, minus 3x minus 3x. Now, that does make it go away from the right side. But on the left side, remember, guys, there is an invisible 1 right here in front of that x. Okay? So technically what you're doing is saying 1 minus 3. And then you're putting the x back on it. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So this side is going to give you negative 2x. And then put my equal sign on that green line. And then I did not mess with the negative 120, so I'm going to drop it down. And then my final step is to divide. What am I dividing both sides by? Negative 2. Negative 2. Okay? So, that goes away and leaves me with x equals, and then negative 120 divided by negative 2 is going to be 60. So x is going to be 60. So guys, if you needed to know what those angles were worth, it'd be super simple to figure out this one. It just says x. So I know that this one is worth what x is. So this one is 60 degrees. Now, guys, do I need to plug in that other one? No, because I know they're equal. So this one, if you do plug it in, you're still going to get 60. All right. Now, once again, they managed to give you one that is completely unhelpful. This one, do you see how this is a big angle, obtuse, and this is a small angle, acute? Okay. That means they can't match. That means they add to 180. So that means I'm going to write down x plus 50 and then plus x minus 10 equals 180. All right. Now, I need to go through and get rid of subtraction if there is any, and there is, plus negative 10. All right, and what that does, it lets me use the commutative property. That essentially makes it possible for me to just jump around and combine like terms anywhere I want on the left side. All right, so let's look. Here's an x, and here's an x, and here is a 50, and a negative 10. Go ahead and simplify those, guys, for me and write down what you should get. Don't say anything out loud, though. All right. Hopefully, you said x and x. Now I have two x's. Plus sign. 50 plus negative 10 is going to be 40. And that still equals 180. Now, guys, this is just a two-step equation. I need to get my x's alone. So I need to get rid of this 40. To get rid of it, I'm going to take it away. So I'm going to minus 40 or do negative 40. Either way you want to think of it. That made it disappear on the left side. Now, on the left side, the only thing I hadn't messed with is the 2x. Equals, what's 180 minus 40? 140, good job. And then my last step here is going to be to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient, the number in front of the x. So I'm dividing both sides by 2. And that's going to give me x equals 70. All right. Now, if I needed to figure out what these angles were worth, guys, I would say x minus 10, 70 minus 10, and that would give me 60 degrees here. And here, I would say 70 plus 50, and that would give me 120 here. And guess what 120 and 60 are? 180. Now, boys and girls, your assignment is to turn your paper over and just write down, because we don't have a lot of time, write down whether you're going to set them equal to each other or plus 180. So once again, if you're going to set them equal to each other, all I want is in like beside number, the number is to write an equal sign. If you're going to set them equal, if you're going to say they add to 180, so if they're equal, you write one of these. If they add to 180, you just do plus 180. And that's all I want you to do on that problem. Do not write both signs like I just did. Okay, I was just showing you that's how you're going to write it by the problem number, okay? And then we'll pick up from there tomorrow. So you're going to look at each problem, all 9 problems. You're going to write down either the equal sign or the plus 180. When you do, after you do that, you can pack up.